Hey everyone, in this video, I'm going to answer the question that I get quite often. Can I keep my child from my ex? My name is Kyle Kaufman. I am a lawyer at hkkLawoffices.com. Hey everyone, in this video, I'm going to answer the question that I get quite often. Can I keep my child from my ex? Wow, that's a tricky one, right? It really requires quite an analysis, and I'm a lawyer in Wisconsin, so I'm going to answer that question as best I can in the context of what Wisconsin law would say in a situation like that. So there are many things in our lives as parents that come up and we question, is this the right thing for my child, right? So there's really 4 questions that you really need to look at, number 1, in making this determination, okay? So number 1, is there an order, okay? Is there an order in the case, okay, that says there is a specific schedule that requires you to have your child with the other parent at a specific date or time? That's the first thing you're looking at. Is there an order? Okay, it's important. If there's not an order, well, then you've probably answered the question that you don't have to, because there's no, I guess, order or law that might say that. However, from a standpoint of is it a good idea is a little bit different, right? The second thing to really look at is, after the order, is, am I actually interfering with that order? Am I withholding or am I interfering? That's a question, right? And that's a relatively simple question to answer by saying, you know, yes, I'm intentionally withholding or I'm intentionally interfering or preventing, okay? That really gets me into my third point of, is intentional interference, right? Because there could be some times you can't comply with the order, whether it's traffic or weather, or you get stuck in an airport or something of that nature, or some other cause that's outside of your control, an illness, a sickness, or something like that. So, and even there, it could be I'm intentionally withholding or preventing, but it's for a good cause, which gets us into the 4th point, and that's really the most important one, okay? So in answering all these questions, you have to look at, well, what is the reason, okay? The reason is really important. I always tell my clients is this: people will care about your concern if you care about it. You have to demonstrate that there is a reasonable basis for you to keep your child from the other parent, okay, if there's an order in place. And what's reasonable one day could be unreasonable the next day. What I mean by that is there could be circumstantial things, right? An example, let's use this. Let's say one parent comes to the home and is completely intoxicated and says, I'm here to pick up our child and take him back to, my home. As a parent, it would probably be reasonable for you to question if that's in the best interest of your child, right? Would you allow your child to get into a car with another intoxicated person, not a parent, right? Whether it be a coach or a friend, a neighbor, even a school teacher. You probably wouldn't do that, right? However, if that parent comes back the next day and then is completely sober and says, well, I'd like to now pick up my child and take that child back to my place, the circumstances have changed, and your denial of that placement the day prior, when that person was intoxicated, would have changed the next day, okay? So you have to be very careful about that decision, and it's really putting on your parenting hat and thinking, what is a reasonable parenting decision? What's best for my child, okay? Now, none of that is to say that you should just make these things up willy-nilly and throw them out and withhold placement. But if you're asking a lawyer, can I do this? Okay, the best that a lawyer can do really is what I'm doing right now, is to help you discover, do you have a reasonable basis? Because if you go to court and you say, hey, and you're asked, why did you withhold placement? The answer is not, well, my lawyer told me I could do it. That's never a good answer. The answer is, well, the reason, Your Honor, is X, Y, or Z, and you would explain the reasonable basis for it. Now, that's not to say the judge is going to find your reason to be reasonable. You really need to justify it and make sure that what you're doing is the right thing. I encourage you to speak with a lawyer. This video is very broad and general in that sense. I'm trying to have you step through that process of thinking through if you're doing the right thing for your child and if you can justify your own actions. But talk to a lawyer, consult with that lawyer specifically about your case. All right, everybody, thanks. We'll see you next time.